And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the only podcast on the internet that knows that Donald Trump is not wearing a wig. Stop saying that he's wearing a wig.
Oh my God.
He's definitely not wearing a wig, you guys.
And we know that because we are doctors.
Not doctors.
I'm Dr. Silverstein.
I'm Dr. Armshaw.
And on this week's episode, we're going to change it up. We're going to talk about, in the UK, Jason Arday, PhD.
Oh, yeah. Turning into the international arena, we'll be discussing the joy of a Spanish holiday, specifically if you're Moroccan, and the area is Ceuta.
And in the United States, we'll be discussing Amir Hassan's loss to a non-candidate in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
In the second half, we will be discussing the Democratic Socialists of America versus the Democrats and how that's going to work out for everybody because everyone's got opinions. All that and more on Doctors Not Doctors starting right now. Patrick.
Chris.
So, as I said before, we are now deep into the summer. It's August. It's the second week of August.
It is the second week. Well, it's the 7th of August. So I don't know. Does the second week start on the 7th? Does it start on the 8th? Where are we on this?
You're right.
The millennium starts in 2000 or 2001. I can never remember.
No, it's 2000. Anyone who's like it's 2001, they're just messing with you.
Really? Okay.
The heat wave is abated, but we are definitely in summer. There has not been a lot of rain.
Nope.
However, a little bit more rain has kind of hit the UK in the north.
Really?
But and you know there was some rain around where I live. But I didn't actually come down where I live. So we're still holding out for, I guess, September, October, November, and seeing how things are. But you know, it's been quite an interesting summer. For this particular day, though, we're going to be talking about a person. We're going to be talking about Cambridge University, a story that's been circulating around the internet and on television and on newspapers. Because again, politics is kind of dead for the next few days until the Clacton by-election, where Nigel Farage will barely beat Tim Kaine. So. There's a person named Jason Arday, PhD, question mark. Yeah. And he has come under some pretty intense scrutiny over his doctorate and if he actually wrote his thesis, in addition to several other things that he's claimed to have done. And this creates a bit of a two issues here because anyone. The premise of this show is doctors, not doctors. We both have doctorates. We've both written
absolutely right. We've been through the ringer. You know, we've been chopped up, diced up, and reformatted into a new thing. And it's I think it strikes a certain tone when another one of us, in theory, is attacked for not doing the work. Absolutely right, and I think you're right about that in two distinct ways. On the one hand, you hear that a fellow academic is being attacked for not having done the work, and one response is going to be, "Wait, seriously? Like you got where you are without suffering what I have suffered? How dare you?" And there's like the feeling like, well, obviously, if that's true, then death must follow. And then there's the sense of, but on the other hand, the people attacking him are not academics, so screw those guys.
Oh yeah,
I know where my bread is buttered.
Yeah, I love the non-academics, and they're just like, I read your dissertation, and there were typos. I'm all like, because one person wrote it, dick. It's not like we had a team of people all combing through we had to do all of our own research and then write like 9 copies of a 100-page, 200-page document that's only you, that you have to make sure every page is, and
we had to do that shit in Word because no one taught us LaTeX. Damn it. So, we suffered. We suffered is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I when I was doing mine, I was thinking back like, man, imagine if I had to do this on a typewriter. Imagine that, like, because I did my dissertation during COVID. So I got really lucky because I could be at home and type it and also do my job. But like, I would be very I would have had to make it work because we had a whole bunch of different, like I had enough space in my office to go off and maybe do some research or maybe do some writing.
Good. Oh, you could actually like stand up and move to another part of the room, and it would almost feel like you could go somewhere.
No, not when I was working from home. I had a plan for before COVID, which I was doing.
Okay,
but all right. That went to hell, like with the rest of the world. So yeah, it's very difficult when somebody makes a claim. And this person, Jason Arday, is a professor, was a professor of color. I think he was the youngest Black professor at Cambridge.
Very much so.
And
in his 30s, in his mid-30s, Chris.
He was 37 when he started at Cambridge. 37 years old.
It's a hell of a thing.
It should have been cause for celebration, but almost immediately some people started to be upset at the appointment of a professor of color. What happened, Patrick?
Well, what happened was, you see, that immediately he sort of he drew the attention of what I like to call the flying monkeys of the internet. Now, who are the flying monkeys of the internet? Well, it sort of depends. Sometimes it's racists, and other times it's white supremacists, and other times it's Nazis, Chris. But either way, what will happen is someone will draw their attention, and then they will all flock as one to try to take that person down. And we saw this happen in the United States. If you remember a few years back, the president of Harvard was a woman of color, and the flying monkeys attacked, and they demanded that she prove that she had not committed fraud in her dissertation.
Thesis. Yeah.
And so and it turned out that she had improperly attributed some quotes, where she had rewritten a quote in her own words, basically, and then mentioned that the idea came from a place, but she had not said this is a quote from that place, which is, not great. It's not a great look, but also I don't know how serious that is, because if there is the attribution and you just didn't do the attribution the exact right way, I don't think that's the kind of thing where you say, well, therefore they did everything they did was made up and nothing, right? So
it doesn't invalidate your entire all your academic work, because
if you're making a claim of plagiarism, you're making a claim of fraud. These are big claims. You gotta have the evidence to back that up. Right? Yeah. So when I first heard that the flying monkeys were going after Professor Jason Arday, I got to tell you, my first response was, I've seen this movie before. I know how this ends. Chris, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Turns out it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
Yeah,
so
it's a bit more. There's a lot more nuance here. You need a lot more context. You need to understand the history. And why don't we talk a bit about Jason Arday? Because my guy has definitely fucked it for the rest of us. So let's just talk about some of the things he's claimed to have done.
Yeah. And I think because this is the internet and we like to keep things fun and light on the show, while we talk about, the burning of the world, we're going to turn this into a game.
Ooh.
This is Jason Arday Tap Out.
Ooh, Tap Out. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, what it means is this. I am going to start relating to some of the claims made by Professor Arday. And you are going to tell me whether you find this to be a plausible claim, a slightly implausible claim, or you tap out and say, no, that's absurd. I give up, and that's the end of it. So,
okay, I'm ready to play. I am ready to play.
Okay, all right. Let me know when you're going to tap out, Chris.
Okay, all right. Like, why don't you give me a few here?
All right.
And then why don't I'll let you know when I tap out.
Love it. Okay, so this, just a few things to mention. Number one, did you know that Jason Arday is a prolific fundraiser, Chris?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he does physical challenges. He's a very fit guy. You can take a look. He's clearly in shape. And so he has done some very impressive stuff. He has raised £5 million for charity.
5 million? That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's pretty good. I mean, hell.
That's quite a lot. That's a huge
better
amount.
Than I could do.
I know, right? It's better than almost anybody has ever done, raising money for charity. So that's
on their own.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Very impressive.
I'm not tapping out yet. Congratulations, £5 million. Well done.
Right?
Well done.
Exactly. I think we should be very proud. He's also
How did he do that, by the way?
Oh, well, doing various things. He did things, Chris. He did lots of things.
He did things.
Yeah, some things that he did. I don't know if this is with charity exactly. He ran 600 miles in 6 days.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the 600-mile challenge. He did the 600-mile challenge.
Is that how he raised the 5 million pounds?
6 days. I'm not certain. Chris. I would assume so. I would assume that. I mean, I don't think all the 5 million pounds, because that's.
Those aren't connected. He's run 600 miles in 6 days, which is pretty intense.
Yeah.
And then he's also raised 5 million pounds for the charities. Okay, all right.
I mean, technically, the fastest recorded time for doing the 600-mile challenge is 12 days, but but he did it in 6, so it's very impressive.
Ooh, okay, I'm not going to lie to you. My hand is hovering over the button here.
Yeah. All right,
my hand is hovering over the button.
Well, stick with me.
Okay.
Because he also ran 30 marathons.
Loves to run, this guy.
In 35 days.
Wait. Hang on.
Yep.
30 marathons in 35 days.
Yep, you heard me.
That's what, 26.5? What is it?
Yeah, it's over 26 miles each.
26 miles a day.
30 of them. Yeah.
30 days. Well, in 30 days or how many days?
35 days.
35 days. That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got to have a rest day every once in a while,
Either he took a week off or he took 5 non-consecutive days off.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not tapping out on that one. I mean,
well, because Eddie Izzard ran a bunch of marathons himself, right, in a very short amount of time. Yeah. Like, it's not completely insane. It's a thing, right?
No, it is a thing that is done. Yes.
Yeah. So and it's particularly impressive on account of on the 20th day of his marathons, on the 20th marathon, he fell very badly and he broke his leg, Chris.
He broke.
Yeah, had a hairline
on the 20th
fracture
day.
On the 20th marathon.
He had 10 more days of marathoning left.
10 more marathons, yes.
10 more marathons last.
On a broken leg, Chris.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
No. I'm
that
sorry. I'm not. I'm not that kind of doctor. However, tapping out, because I've heard of stress fractures before because I knew people in high school that ran track, and and you can get a stress fracture, and you might be. I don't know how long it takes to recover from that, but it takes time, right? But if you're talking about a broken leg, I've had broken bones before. It takes a while for that to like 6 weeks for that to heal. And what you definitely don't do is to keep doing the thing that caused you to break that bone.
Not if you don't have grit and determination, Chris.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I obviously have no stick-to-itiveness or grit. I obviously have no real gumption. Could have never made it in the Wild West, crawling uphill both ways to school. But for me, gotta call bullshit on running 30 marathons, 10 of which you did on a broken leg. But you know what? I'm tapping out. But if there were pictures, if there were videos, if there was something, then,
I don't think there are, Chris.
And this is it. There has to. If you don't have any proof of the things you did, then it didn't happen. That's why you got to put your pictures up on social media, or else you don't exist as a person.
Yeah, apparently so. So this is and that's not all. There's so much more, Chris. Yeah.
There seems to be so much about this guy. He's made a lot of different claims in his life about what he is and what he's done. Some of them just don't even make any sense. But again, did he still do his doctorate? Did he still deserve?
See, that's the real question, right?
So he could be a world-class bullshitter, but Jordan Peterson exists.
That's true. Also, Jordan Peterson should not have been fucking hired by Harvard. Should he have, quite frankly?
But yet here we are, right? So
I think
you get angry at Jason Arday for making or making all these ridiculous claims that some of them have been debunked and some of them can't have happened because he was not alive when the 7-Up thing started. But
slight issue.
But it was his credentials that were being challenged.
Yeah.
In addition to him just being potentially a bullshitter, it was his credentials. Now, have his credentials actually been,
there have been accusations, and there are some people who have looked into it who's, I respect their work, and they're saying, it's not good. This is looking really actually quite bad. So,
well, this is the thing, though. So when I heard about this story and I heard that, they had made claims that he had plagiarized portions of his dissertation in a way that seemingly was a lot worse than what was claimed against the president of Harvard. As in, like, you didn't do the right kind of allocation of information as opposed to you're just copying and pasting. Like, that's a massive charge, especially if you're the youngest black professor at Harvard. And if it was me, I don't know about you, but if somebody had said that you had lifted portions of your thesis, I would rip off their face. I would be like, let's go to the page and let's
show me the fucking evidence for this claim, and then I will beat you to death with my own thesis
because it's so thick. I will throw it at you and you will fall down the stairs. Like, and yet and I know this isn't a presumption of guilt, but then he just resigned. He's just like, oh, this is too hard, I'm leaving.
Yeah, he said,
from Cambridge.
He said he no longer wants to be in the spotlight, which is the kind of thing that would make an awful lot of sense if you just wanted people to stop looking into the shit that you had said over the years. I don't know. Like, the thing is, I'm not going to say that he was definitely a fraud academically until some proper evidence in a report comes out, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a big claim, and I don't think that you should make it. That said, I don't believe that he raised £5 million for charity. I don't believe he traveled to South Africa and West Africa for water aid, or South America and West Africa for water aid, when water aid don't do that at all. One of these claims, Chris, would be extraordinary. Yeah. And I would not say that it could not happen. Two of them, I'm a little bit suspicious. Three of them, come on, man.
There's too.
You didn't need it.
Yeah, there's too much there that it's just like, oh yeah, and I grew wings and I flew and I've been to space and I know all these people. It's like you stop with one. I mean, the 600. What I ran 600 marathons or 600 miles.
Right,
I did
600 miles in 6 days. Like you can get away with that, right? Because some people could do that. That's not crazy.
Yeah,
entirely. But like, I don't know. It's just I knew kids like this when I was in middle school. You knew kids like this when you were in middle school. We all knew kids like this when they were in middle school, they never knew when to stop it. They never knew they always went one too far. Right. Yeah. And I suspect that that's what happened with Dr. Arday, to be honest with you.
But let's not forget the last part of the story, which is actually first.
Go on.
Why were they investigating him in the first place?
Chris, would you like to take the lead on this one?
Well, I mean, it came down to a white supremacist, as we said earlier, that this wasn't just, Cambridge saying, oh, we're going to look into who you are. It was this person whose name I don't even really know, but they basically just like, this is the wrong kind of guy to be here because he's black. And this is DEI gone mad.
Yeah.
And so that's why people started investigating him seriously. So sure, unfortunately, this guy has made it life harder for everyone, every black academic or every academic of color, right? But the reason that the spotlight was put on him in the first place was only because he was black. Like if a white guy had come in, I doubt this dude who had started the claim against him would have even cared or even started.
No, of course not, because the guy who started this whole thing is very clear that his problem is with black people in academia. Like this is not a guy who was activated. He's activated, Chris, by plagiarism and academic honesty, the same way that Gamergate was activated by truth in games journalism. Like it has nothing to do with what it claims to be about. It's purely about, can we get people really angry at black people? Like that's it. That's the game that they're playing.
The purpose of having a go at Jason Arday was because he had risen too far and he had gotten to a place where black people weren't supposed to be in the eyes of this person who is a Cambridge alumnus. I'm not going to say his name because douchebag, but like he got lucky. I mean, like basically he went on a fishing expedition, got lucky, and also screw Jason Arday. I mean, Jason should be able to defend himself and has chosen not to effectively.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Anybody worth their salt would have fought for this, especially if you've got a position at Cambridge. How difficult it is to get an academic position in the United Kingdom.
Right.
And it's like just so people know, you need to have 3 published articles in order to be an assistant professor. You need to have, I think one published article if you just want to be a lecturer. Or like you have to have, it's not just, hi, I've got a PhD, can I get a job? No, it's you have to have already put in a lot of work from usually when you were doing your doctorate and also writing other papers at the same time. So to throw away that opportunity is probably a person who's lived their entire life at academia and has actually walked out of academia to understand the real world. But at the same time, you know, you have a person there who's like, Cambridge is my university and it should only be open to a certain kind of people. I'm a race realist, by the way, and therefore I like to see when it snows. I don't want to see any difference in the landscape of Cambridge.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, and this is the part where we have to remind ourselves that 2 things can be true at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know, that Jason Arday can be potentially an academic fraud. That may be the case. Again, I will not pronounce judgment until I see proof. It is certainly the case that he appears to be a serial fabulist, and that is actually reason enough to fire him from a position as a professor. Come on, man, you can't do that as a professor. That's just not on. And also, it could be true that the people demanding that he resign at the beginning were a bunch of white supremacist freaks, and screw those guys. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think we should move on. We're not taking a break until we get to the second half, and we've spent a lot of time on this.
Brooklyn, Chris.
No sleep till Brooklyn. So why don't we talk about? We mentioned it a little bit last week. The situation in Ceuta. Am I saying that right?
I'm going to say Ceuta.
Oh no, I'm not doing that.
Are we not doing that? We're not doing
Castilian. I'm not doing the Castilian thing, man. No. But last week, as we reported, or as we talked about briefly, 60,000 people effectively swam in basically the Mediterranean Sea between Morocco and an exclave of Spain, which is also in Morocco. And this was obviously used by the likes of Reform and the likes of the right wing of both the United States and Europe to say,
and Italy.
And in Europe, you know, but Italy specifically, we're all like, you know, they're coming for your kids, they're coming for your women. You got to shut down the borders. You got to kick Spain out of the Schengen area. This is all over, folks. This is it. It's happening. It's happening.
Because obviously, the second you step foot on Spanish soil, you can go anywhere inside of Europe. That's just facts, Chris.
They've got that Stargate there. They just put it in.
Exactly.
That new Stargate.
It's perfectly magic. Yeah.
So.
Which is, you know, here's the thing, right? Several things can be true at once. Yes. And one of the big ones is that Ceuta is not connected to Spain proper.
No.
Like, it is Spanish territory, but it is also on the African continent. It is connected to Morocco. It is separated by a very serious border. Like, a very serious border.
Yeah, it's called the Mediterranean Sea.
No. Like it's actually connected by land. Like,
I mean between
Ceuta and Spain.
Yeah.
Oh, very serious. Yeah, you're not swimming. Don't swim that. Don't try that, folks. It's a bad idea.
No.
You know. Yeah.
That's some free advice. Don't swim the Mediterranean to get to like Spain from North Africa.
Exactly.
No, it just won't work for you.
There you go. But so the thing is that Ceuta and Melilla, which are these 2 weird Spanish enclaves in Morocco that Spain still holds. I don't know why. But no one seems to think it's that big of a deal. So, okay, whatever. I'm not here to judge, right? Britain still has the Falklands. It's fine. So when it comes to this situation with Ceuta, like to get from Morocco into Ceuta, there's a very serious border crossing. Right?
Yeah.
It is not fucking easy to do. So this sort of surge, and I think it was like 70,000 people even who crossed over. They had to swim into the Mediterranean around the border and onto the Ceuta Peninsula. Right. Yeah. And quite a few people died doing this.
About 30 people died making the crossing.
And that's horrific. So, like, you may be asking yourself, well, I don't hear about this happening every day. This seems to be relatively new. What the hell is going on here? Well, there is actually a previous example of this happening, although it was relatively smaller in scale. And in both times that it's happened, well, geopolitics plays a role, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you familiar with the Polisario Front?
No. The Polisario Front? No.
All right. So I want you to imagine a map of Africa specifically,
sure,
focusing on the northwest.
Of course,
there's Morocco.
I'm so there.
Below that, right, you've got like you got Mali, you got like all sorts of countries and whatnot, but also you've got like this weird little bit that's not colored in on the map.
Oh, Western.
You ever wonder what that's about? Yeah, Western Sahara. You ever wonder what's going on with Western Sahara? Yeah. So the people of Western Sahara are not Moroccans. They do not consider themselves to be Moroccans. They see the Moroccans as basically colonizers on account of that's literally what the Kingdom of Morocco has been doing with the Western Sahara since I think like the 1970s, basically.
Sure.
So yeah, they had a whole like separatist movement, the Polisario Front. Morocco has responded by basically pushing them into the deserts. It has not been very chill. It has not been very cool. But Morocco appears to have finally won in the sense that it has gotten a bunch of European countries to agree that Western Sahara is Moroccan territory.
Wow.
They've recognized the border, right? So it's kind of a big deal. But what's interesting is the last time you had this sort of like large scale like stream of people going into Ceuta from Morocco, it was at a time when Spain was still recognizing the Polisario Front.
Mm-hmm.
Like was not yet recognizing Morocco's claim to this big swath of territory. And so some people have argued that the reason why this huge stream of people happened was to pressure the Spanish to back off its support for the Polisario Front.
Wow.
That this was geopolitics. And that's what happened. And Spain then did back off its support for Polisario and did basically recognize Morocco's claim to the area.
Wow.
So why is it happening now, you might ask?
I do ask that.
Well, it's a fun story because Spain has been getting a little bit closer to Algeria.
Okay.
And the problem is Morocco hates Algeria because they're neighbors. And also, they got a history and it's a whole frickin' thing.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, Algeria is a republic and the Kingdom of Morocco is not. So there's some stuff going on there. So it seems to be some people are saying that this may have been the result of Spain getting too friendly with Algeria and Morocco deciding to show Spain who's boss by, getting a bunch of its people to risk their lives to get into Ceuta so that Spain could be embarrassed in front of Europe.
Well, I mean, that's what I find interesting because when I first saw it last week, it did not look like your normal like migrant issue.
Yeah,
because it was, and it seemed like this is it's never been. And what made the least sense was like so many people trying to get into Ceuta.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, what are they going to do once they're there? It's not like they could just jump on a ferry or get on a plane. Mm-hmm. Like now you're kind of there, and it's like, well, you're not getting into Spain. No one's gonna sort you out like while you're here. Like, oh, well, I guess you could just come in and why don't you, buy a house or something?
Yeah, exactly.
It just wasn't like there wasn't that kind of obvious end game. So when somebody, immigrates to the United States, whether it be legally or without papers, there's obviously an end game. Or trying to get somewhere or get to like family, or when they come over in a small boat, they're usually trying to get to a person they know.
Exactly.
But if you're just like running from like Morocco into somewhere else, I'm just like,
but gonna get into Spain and then magic.
Yeah. And then what I found interesting as well on the other end, because everybody left, everybody was already out within like a day. Yeah. Like everybody who had come over and survived the swim. Yeah. They came back and they all were, forced out by the army and put back into Morocco. And then there was all these tour buses, all these coaches ready to pick them up and send them home.
Interesting.
So it's like, okay,
that's some quick work by the Moroccan government. I think we can all agree. Yeah,
that's some quick work by the Moroccan government. But obviously it seemed artificial about the like what launched this. And other people are saying that like the United States had something to do with it because they don't like Spain right now because Spain's very anti-America, anti-Netanyahu.
No, it's anti-genocide in Gaza, Chris, and that appears to be enough to get you in Trump's bad books. So,
that's what I mean. They're anti the things that America is supporting, and they're not letting, and they're anti the war in Iran that America started. So they're not like playing ball as far as Trump is concerned. And so they decided that, okay, sure. Why don't we just the timing seemed a bit too coincidental, but there seems to be a number of different reasons why
this might have happened when it happened. And unless you think that we're saying, suggesting the involvement of the Moroccan government without any evidence at all, that's not true. There is some evidence of this, Chris.
Oh.
Because quite a few people who've been interviewed, after making it to Ceuta or leaving, said that as they were like heading towards the beach to make the swim, Moroccan police were telling them which way to go.
Yeah.
Like marshaling them in the right direction, basically. So does. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And I know, and just to piggyback on that, I've seen video at the same time of people saying, I was told this is what it was going to be like when I got here, and it wasn't.
Yes.
And that was the big line. Is like I was told when I got here, when I would get here, this would happen, this would happen, this would happen, and then they've been so mean to me, and I'm just like, who told you that this was a good idea?
Apparently, there were rumors that were going around WhatsApp in Morocco that a Supreme Court case that had just happened in Spain had meant that if you could make it onto Spanish territory, you could be given asylum.
Right.
Like you just have to get there, and then they can't kick you out.
I see.
That is not what the Supreme Court of Spain ruled. That is not Spanish law.
No.
At all. That's not anyone's law. That's not how anything works. That's not how any of this works, Chris.
Yeah.
But how many people know how any of this works? That's the problem. Governments are big.
And why was that like funneled then to, so many different people,
So, I don't know. I get the feeling that if we were to continue watching the story, we would see probably some indications of a deliberate misinformation campaign, possibly by a state or state-backed actors. And it seems like the kind of thing where Morocco might have had a reason to do it, and U.S. and Israel might have had reasons to encourage Morocco to do it. And Morocco is a very, very strong ally of both the United States and of Israel. So
I mean, you may think that, and we'll just have to keep an eye out and see how it goes.
We'll have to see how it goes. So maybe everyone just went crazy all of a sudden out of nowhere, Chris.
Started dancing in the streets like it's 1275.
Exactly.
So let's move on to the last bit here.
All right.
The last bit, of course, is about your friend and mine, friend of the pod, Amir Hassan,
yes.
who ran under the GOP ticket. Was it in Michigan?
Yeah, it's in Michigan.
Another Michigan person who ran under the GOP ticket on the Republican primary. And if you remember, was it for the Senate or for the House?
Oh, this is, I believe, for the House.
So he ran.
Pulling it up real quick just to be absolutely certain. Yes, it's for the House. What am I saying?
So Amir Hassan ran for the House, for a House seat in Michigan. He was backed by Trump. He, as a man who I believe rejected Islam and became a Christian, and so and he was endorsed by Donald Trump.
Yeah,
and
served in the Navy as well.
In the Navy as well.
Exactly.
So he's got all of
he's tall, he's built, he's right out of central casting.
Absolutely, he is right out of central casting.
Yeah,
and he is a Black American. He is the perfect person for the Republicans to put into Congress, or to try to put into Congress, to put to bed these ridiculous ideas that racism has anything to do with their party. Patrick, what happened during that race?
I'm so glad you asked, Chris. So here's the thing. There were basically three main candidates here, right? One of them was obviously Mr. Hassan. Another was a Mr. Lemo, who was the main sort of alternative candidate. And then there was a third guy, a Mr. Tom Smith. Now, Tom Smith was not doing so hot in this primary. He was self-funding, but he's not like a billionaire, right? So he's just like a small businessman. He was like, I'm going to run. It's going to be great. And then he promptly raised like almost no money.
I believe it was $2,000 or something.
He raised very little money, so little money that he was not able to file a financial report. In fact, one of the reasons he wasn't able to file a financial report is that he wasn't able to log in. So he wrote a handwritten note to hand in saying, I tried to log in, but I can't log in. So I'm writing this note to you to let you know that I can't log in. But here, but also it's it's fine. Because basically his career, it was going nowhere. It was going nowhere, and he knew it. And so he suspends his campaign and he throws his support, what little of it there was, to Mr. Lemo, right? So now it's a Lemo Hassan match up, and everyone is like, all right, well, he's got the background. He's been in the Navy. He's got Trump's support. This man is going places. He loses 36% to 50%.
36% to 50%.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Now, who got the 50%? You might be asking.
I am asking who got the 50%.
Well, it wasn't Lemo.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was Tom Smith. It was Tom Smith.
Tom Smith.
He couldn't log in. He raised no money. He dropped out of the race and endorsed another dude, and that dude came in third.
And that.
Yeah, and Tom Smith got a majority in a three-way race that he wasn't running in.
A race that he actively dropped out of, raised no money for, and did not campaign for.
Yep.
He
ran no ads, Chris.
He ran zero ads.
He ran zero ads because he had no money, right?
Of course.
So, on what basis did a majority of Republicans in this Michigan district decide to vote for Tom Smith over Amir Hassan? Oh, I see the problem.
And there it is. Apparently this dude had to put up a video of himself in his car, and he literally had to say, "Hey guys, my family's," this is how he put it, "my family's been here for hundreds of years," creating its own question, like, okay, where and how? And like hundreds of years ago, there's very few black families that are doing very well. So
not doing very well, but certainly there.
Some might. Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't impossible, but however,
Americans even then, Chris.
Yes. However, he had to go on social media and basically say, "Hey guys, I'm safe. I'm backed by Trump," but his name is Amir Hassan.
Yeah.
And so Amir Hassan lost to Tom Smith, a person who had not campaigned. And you have this issue now where you have this party who's trying to claim that, they're the furthest thing from racist and they're not trying to do anything untoward.
Right. Well, they're literally rounding up non-white people to throw them out of the country and talking about how they need to strip citizenship from people who are not white. But it's definitely not a race thing.
But it's not a race thing. So you have a choice between a person who you've seen on television and you've heard and got the tap on the shoulder by Donald Trump to say, "You're my guy." Yep. And you said, "Not this time, Donald. You've clearly made a mistake." Now, if you want to support Max Miller or if you want to support all these people who want to back up Epstein, we're 100% behind you all the way.
Oh, yeah.
But Amir Hassan? Are you sure?
He's got a Muslim name, Chris. So obviously.
Sure? Oh, I mean, he sounds like Mom Donnie. Is he Mom Donnie? I think what you meant to say is Mom Donnie. That's who was running in the 8th district for the House in Michigan. That's what you must have said. Yeah. And I can't go for it. Obviously, you've made a mistake. No. I'm voting for Thomas J. Smith, the man who isn't running.
I just there's no possible explanation for this other than I will not vote for the dude with a Muslim name. I will vote for the dude with the most Anglo name that has ever been Angloed.
Yeah.
This is I'm just going to say it. This is not covering the GOP in glory, Chris. This is not making them look very good.
This isn't it. This is not it for them. This is bad.
Guess what, Chris? This is a swing district.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Like these are people running to challenge the Democratic incumbent. Trump won that district, but they have a Democratic representative, right?
Right.
If they're going to pick up anything in the shit show that November is shaping up to be for the Republican Party, this has got to be one of the pickup opportunities, right?
One would think so.
Yeah. And they're going with the guy who doesn't know how to log in. So that's their candidate, Chris.
That's going to be their guy. That's going to be their standard bearer, who is going to bring it.
A white man who doesn't know how to use the internet.
Who doesn't know how to? It sounds perfect. And I think we'll leave it there and take a small break because this connects to our next section, which would be about just the bin fire that is the United States. And we will be right back. And we're back.
Let's turn our attention towards the United States, shall we, Chris?
Yeah, well, we will. We've already done it once today. We might as well do it twice.
Exactly. It's because it's time for us to talk about one of the things that's just burning up the internets, and that's the civil war in the Democratic Party.
Yeah. It's now reached fever pitch where it's now, I'm now seeing it on my feeds, and I'm now seeing it come up in the news. It's on CNN. It's on, NBC. It's basically an issue here. So for those of you who are not from America or don't care, the people who have been winning in these races between a Trump-backed candidate and a Democrat, not all of them are Democrats in the traditional sense, because as we've said many times before, the Democrats remain unpopular. As in they remain like on poll wise, they're not getting the gains that you would expect.
When you ask them about party approval, you're right.
Party approval. Exactly, that's what I mean by party approval. That's what I'm talking about.
Slightly less popular than the Republican Party, who are slightly less popular than COVID. So, it's not a great position to be in if you're, a Democrat, unless, of course, you look at like election results, in which case what you see is consistently in every special election, the Democratic candidate just doing way better than they should, like overperformed by over 10 percentage points. Right.
Yeah. I
mean, something's going on there. Right.
But that's just it, is that the Democrats themselves publicly, kind of in the mindset, they're not what people want to see. But when a Democratic candidate runs, they typically do very well or win right now. And so some of these people are running. Some of these people are running in a different way than you'd expect for some Democrats. They are no longer pandering to the middle. And so there's a group called the Democratic Socialists of America. Now, that's an organization. It's not the Democratic Party, and they're not their own political party. They are a group of people who have the same ideas, and they just want to bring those ideas to America in a number of different ways. They have, it's like, some people likened it to a caucus in a legislature, but some of these people aren't in the legislature. The only real DSA member who's in Congress right now is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
That's true.
Who runs under the Democratic ticket. So this is the issue. Like, you'll have a person who is DSA who is running under the Democratic ticket. And so right now what's happening is that there are a lot of people who want to conflate the two. So if you vote Democrat, you're going to get DSA. And therefore you can't vote for them because they have a much more left-wing, much further left-wing policy platform. But then again, it's an organization. It's not a political party. Therefore, there's different striations of, Democratic socialists. So some of these, they usually are about, free healthcare, climate, like green power, green energy.
Less money to the military, more money towards education.
Stronger labor laws.
Absolutely. Very, very interested in that. Generally speaking, they're in favor of the kind of stuff that the Democratic Party has generally been in favor of, actually. Like, ideologically, I'm not seeing a huge amount of like extreme leftism from the DSA. What I am seeing is like, left-wing positions that are politically not necessarily super popular at any given moment, right? If you're the Democratic Party, your job is to win elections, right? So whereas you might absolutely see, getting, universal health care, you see that as a goal as a Democrat. You might not see it as politically feasible at any given time, right?
Right.
So, you sort of focus on the things that you think are possible. Politics is the art of the possible, and the party's job is to sort of determine how best to win elections. And the Democratic electorate, through the primary system, chooses the candidates they think are going to do the best at that. And you're right, the DSA, they're not a party. They don't care if the position is popular or not. The whole point is, no, we're in favor of these things, and we will be in favor of these things, and we're going to be loud about these things because that's the stuff that we care about. And that's fine, right?
And that's fine because they're also in favor of things like abolishing ICE, closing our overseas military bases from the United States, ending economic sanctions on countries like Iran, Venezuela, and Cuba, and it just says, quote, free Palestine. So, which is a number of different things.
Yeah. So, like, this is the thing. They're in a way, they're just sort of the left wing of the Democratic Party, or at least a bunch of people who are on the left of the Democratic Party who have decided we're going to have our own organization. And that way we can just sort of say what we think. And that's, okay. I see them as being equivalent to like the Tea Party,
Yeah, this is the problem because they're seeing this what some people will call colonization, some people might call invasion, entryism, that you are seeing these people come in and pushing out the traditional Democrats, but this their politics, because not every single DSA person believes in every single thing on the platform. It isn't like a political party over here where if you're a signed up member of the Labor Party or the Conservative Party, the S&P, or Plaid, or the Greens, or whatever, it is assumed because of your membership of that party and taking the party whip that you believe everything that the leader says.
Yeah, right? And that you're going to support the decisions of the party because the party is an apparatus of its own, right? It has and that's one of the things that makes parties really different in Britain to parties in the United States. Yes, traditionally, parties in America are these very weak things that have no central control. Instead, it's a bunch of cats who are going to be herded or not, as the case may be, right?
Yeah, they're allowed to be themselves. They're allowed to, and this is the thing about America is that, that's why there's only two parties, is because the larger party has a much harder time controlling the individual, whereas in the UK, the individual is almost beholden to the party because the party controls your money, the party controls a lot of your resources, they control like where you are going to, like sometimes they're like, if you don't get any money, you have no campaign offices. Do you need flyers for your campaign? Oh, well, you better call headquarters and make sure you get those flyers. And what did you last do to earn those flyers or earn that support or get those visits from ministers, right?
Yeah, it's a strong party system,
It's a strong party system, whereas the DSA, again, not a political party, but the issue now for the Democrats, for the larger Democratic Party, is like they might be able to win in New York and they may be able to win somewhere else. And we're not talking about every single Democratic candidate is DSA.
Oh God, no, not even a little bit.
But there's a active drive now from those who are opposed to the DSA to say, and that comes from within the Democratic Party, that anyone who isn't a centrist, anyone who doesn't believe Hakeem Jeffries should be the majority leader if they win, is of course, a dangerous socialist, and they need to be out of, and they can't stand as a Democrat.
The left must be purged, Chris.
The left must be purged from the Democrats. And the problem is, and I saw this video between James Carville and Hassan Piker, which you should probably raise. And they weren't in the same room, obviously, but
for both of their safeties.
For both of their safeties. And Hassan Piker is a podcaster. We've talked about him before when he was detained in Chicago when he came back into the country. He's very, 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 very popular, but he is very, 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 very left wing. And he doesn't really care about, not hurting feelings. I understand how that sounds, but his job is to be like, he's a fan of Mao.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yeah.
And
he has said that on the record. And so this is what I'm talking about.
Which part of the Great Leap Forward is he okay with? Was it the murder of the sparrows? Is that it? Does he just fucking hate birds? And is like, Mao killed millions of sparrows. Hooray for Mao.
Yeah, but that's like, on one side of the DSA, you have people like that who are like, let's burn down the system and start a new one and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then you have people like James Carville and you got people like Chuck Schumer. And you have all these others just like, we just gotta just hold it together. And we got it. But the problem is that you got to win in places where, healthcare, well, not healthcare for all. Healthcare for all is actually a winner. But,
that's true. Also, abolishing ICE is majority popular at this point, Chris.
Yeah, given that they keep murdering people. But like some of these policies, are not going to win in, let's say, rural Tennessee or something.
No, right? Fuck no. No, so, obviously not. Right.
So you need that kind of like adult, pragmatism, that you're not going to get everything that you want, but let's try to get most of what you want, some of what you want, so that you can get into power, so that you can make the changes that you want to make.
Yeah, politics is the art of the possible. It's the art of negotiation. You've got to have things that you believe in, because otherwise, what the hell are you doing? You're just taking up space, right? Yeah. But you can believe in things as much as you want, but when it comes to actually translating that into power, that is going to mean working with people with whom you do not agree in order to get a majority, so that something can get done, right? And half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. And holding out for perfection just means saying, and we will get nothing, and like it. So I say that because it possibly sounds like I'm an old man and I'm, annoyed at all those ideological hippies on the left, but that's actually not what it is. What I'd argue that it is that I sort of think here is simply this. If you're the kind of person who thinks that I can't support this person because I don't agree with them 100%, you're not engaged in democratic politics. You're engaged in I don't know, showing off, You're sort of engaged in self-definition,
I think that's the bigger thing is like you're this is what I keep on saying, like the left splits and the right unites. Like they get more excited about saying, oh, this is how I'm being super, super, left wing and I'm going to be really edgy and I'm going to do
right.
this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you still have to win. So you have to make sure that when you stand to win as opposed to stand to shock almost and say, how come you sheep aren't with me?
Exactly, right? And so, you're trying to run for office. So I think that a good thing to keep in mind, if you're on the left in the Democratic Party, you are interested in helping to actually make change and, save the country from the depredations of the fascists, it would be good to keep in mind, you've got to work with other people. You're not going to get your own way every single time. And that is going to hurt. That's going to suck.
Yeah, of course. That's what's being an adult's about. You're not going to get your way all the time, and and everybody eventually understands that this is how it works. But it's a lot easier to not get your or to not get your way, or to not get your way in a committee room where you're in the majority and be like, okay, well, I'm here, and we can try to do stuff. But it like this, and this is the fight between them: is that you have a scared group of traditional Democrats who are like, we know how the system works. It's worked well for us. And they're like, well, if you don't play ball, we're all going to lose. And on the other side, you have all these DSA people saying, but you haven't been winning.
Yeah, and this is the thing. When I say that the politics is the art of the possible and you have to compromise and you've got to work with people you don't agree with, I'm not talking to the DSA particularly. I'm talking to the centrists in the party, because the centrists in the party who have decided that the left must be purged, that is the stupidest thing I could imagine anyone doing. The thing is, you can't win as a Democrat without the left on side. You can't win as a leftist without the Democrats on side, right?
Yeah.
You need to negotiate. You need to be able to work together. This is not an optional thing where, we'll finally beat this faction and then we'll control the party entirely, because that is just how you have a recipe for ruling in hell rather than serving in heaven. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. But how about this? So
go on.
Let's lead us to this most recent election, this Democrat primary in Michigan, because I think it's a good example of how you can have your it sounds horrible. How you can have your beliefs and you can have what you want to happen, but also understand that you need to bring a lot of people in on board.
Yeah, well, then that's what's interesting, right? Because the centrist freakout people have been pointing to this particular primary as a perfect example of why the left must be purged, how they're incredibly dangerous, and they presage nothing but destruction, right? Because this was a campaign, right? A primary battle between Abdullah Syed, who is sort of the left-wing DSA-backed candidate, and then Haley Stevens, who is a moderate Democrat. She ran and won in a Republican district, right? So she has crossover appeal and all that kind of thing. And she very much positioned herself as the moderate, stable choice for the campaign. Whereas Abdullah Syed painted himself basically as, the rabble rouser, the guy who's going to, fight for progressive ideals, the guy who was going to be in favor of not supporting the state of Israel in its, genocidal campaign against Gaza, which shockingly enough appears to have played well in Michigan, where there is a large Arab minority who were really pissed off about Gaza in 2024.
Yeah.
Possibly also worth mentioning. Yeah.
They actively voted for Donald Trump.
And Michigan barely went for Trump. What do you know? It's almost like if you are going to have people in your party as part of your coalition, you should not do the worst thing in the world to that part of your coalition. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as the Republicans are learning now in Texas, or may learn in Texas.
Indeed.
But go ahead.
Well, okay, because the interesting thing about this battle, right, is that the centrists were painting this as like, if Abdullah Sayed wins, it's going to be hell because he can't win against the Republican. The only possibility is if Haley Stevens wins, and he's trying to take that away from her. And if she loses, the heavens will open, everything will fail.
Dogs and cats living together, pure pandemonium.
Yeah, we have to stop this immediately. And to be fair, the battle was pretty vicious. You had Abdul Sayed saying some things about Haley Stevens that I don't think were entirely warranted. You had Haley Stevens saying things about Abdul Sayed that I know were not entirely warranted. And the polls showed that Abdullah Sayed was in a commanding position, running really well ahead, right?
Yeah.
So everyone was sort of seeing this as like this big moment of like the progressives are going to win, the centrists are going to freak out. What's going to happen to the party? And what actually happened is this. Abdullah Sayed did win.
Yes, he did.
By 1 percentage point.
1 percentage point. That's very close.
49 to 48. Like, this was a squeaker.
Yeah.
The progressives and the moderates, they're about equal strength in the Michigan party. And so the question now becomes, all right, well, what does that mean? Is this factionalism going to tear apart the party? Or are we going to see the two just sort of like go to war against each other?
Yeah.
That's not what happened. What happened, Chris?
Well, from what I understand, at the end of this campaign, the pair embraced and basically formed a united ticket to say, okay, the primary is over. Now we have to win. Yep. And the issue is that the issue between El Sayed and Stevens is the fact that she was massively backed by AIPAC.
Very much so.
Lots and lots of money went into her campaign, which may explain why the polling showed a massive lead for El Sayed. But at the end of the race, you got very, 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 very close to him losing. I think something like 30 million. So it was tens of millions of dollars were spent on this on this campaign. Huge infusion of money. I mean, we're not talking about Elon Musk money, but we are talking about a lot of money on a very kind of granular campaign for a primary, and we haven't even gotten to the actual general election yet in November. So, but at the end of the campaign, the two basically are coming together and say, okay, you can down tools, let's all get together and try to figure out how to win. Yeah, and this is the big problem between the establishment Democrats who just want things to stay kind of the way that they are. They're like, because it benefits them.
Yeah.
And these new people who I think are correct. They're basically saying you haven't won in the biggest competitions of the past 10 years. You lost to Trump twice. You're not in control of Congress, and you were in control of Congress. You sat in your hand. Well, not sat in your hands, but the administration sat in their hands and effectively allowed Trump to maintain his position and then run for president again. And then
an opportunity was wasted to prevent the fascist takeover of the United States. And they just 100% failed at that. Like Joe Biden got a lot done. He was a very productive president in normal times, but these weren't normal times. And it's sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. But like, I understand what you're saying. Like, and they did a lot of a lot was done in the past, between 2022 and 2024. But the establishment Democrats failed to recognize, at least enough of them failed to recognize the real threat, especially in 2022 when they lost the control of Congress, because what the DSA, some of them are pushing for, and we should make sure as we bring this to a close, we delineate between national and local DSA. National DSA, that's an organization with all sorts of fun ideas, and they can do whatever they want. But local DSA, like organizations, because they're not bound by some massive party structure, there is no $1 billion, kitty fund. that they are hoping to pull from. They can say, I like that. Not a big fan of that. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this. And the thing that I think is hopefully going to appeal to a lot of people for some of these candidates, and a lot of the Democratic candidates are all talking about the same thing. It's that the cost of living and all the things that Trump campaigned on, that a lot of people voted for him on, that kind of outer circle of MAGA who aren't really MAGA, they're MAGA adjacent, but they're just like, I just want my prices to go down. I want my life to be easier. And they're presenting almost a more viable, more realistic, this is how your life is going to be easier stop appealing and stop praying to the billionaires and start treating them like they treat you.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And you don't really
go to the data centers that are driving up electricity prices and water prices.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it's such an easy thing to do, and yet the centrists in the Democratic Party seem incapable of seizing the moment when it comes to this stuff. And I'm sure that if I were a cynical person, I might say that's because the Democratic Party has a lot of very wealthy backers, and it needs their money to compete, and therefore it can't say things that would make them not want to contribute money, and that kind of compromises them a little bit. But also, where's that money going to come from? It's an actual question, right? I'm not saying that they're fools for not seizing that thing, but they are kind of fools for not seizing the data center thing. Holy shit. Data centers are crazy.
I mean, exactly. But then again, there's big money in big tech, and you can't piss off big tech if you were part of the, kind of establishment Democratic Party.
Not until you have another source of funding ready to go. And maybe that needs to be lots and lots and lots of small donors. Maybe that's the model to go after, right?
Exactly. And knows how they're going to do it. But obviously, no politics works without money. So, over the next few months, I think that my fear is that the Democratic Party is going to spend so much time fighting DSA people, specifically on the subject of Israel, that they're going to completely lose the focus on, like, we have to tell people that we're going to make their life better, and tell people, and to almost a second degree, that Donald Trump is a dangerous fascist who, if you let him win now, this is it. That's it. Ball game. It's all over.
Because we've lost so much already. We've lost so much already. Like, this isn't a situation where we keep saying, oh, no, if Donald Trump wins, everything bad will happen, but then the bad thing doesn't happen. No, bad things have happened. People are dead. Like, hundreds of thousands of children are dead thanks to Doge and Elon Musk.
That's worldwide, by the way, not in America.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man. Dead kids are dead kids. It's
I know. But the circle of politics is such that you do need to specify that it actually affects you as opposed to somebody that you don't know. And that's that's a sad world that we live in. This?
He's stolen billions of dollars from the American people. He has torn down the East Wing of the White House. He has completely fucked up the reflecting pool. He has sent armed goons into the streets to murder people. Like,
that's seriously, closer to the center of the circle, yes.
Well, this is the thing. So, I mean, I think, this is a situation where every success that man has makes the American project more and more close to death. And it's not good. And the one good thing here is that Donald Trump is more unpopular than he has ever been. So all the Democrats have to do is not have a civil war now.
Yeah.
And here's my argument for why this is less of an issue than I think the centrist freakout artists want it to be. Because this isn't like entryism in the Labour Party in the UK, right?
Right.
So, if you've got like a hardcore, Trotskyite movement that ends up getting into local Labour Party meetings and then slowly is able to commandeer a majority by holding meetings when no one else is around, so they can barely have and then doing stuff like that, right? That's seizing control of a party apparatus.
Yeah.
That's, a very different thing to the United States, where you don't have that party apparatus. You have primaries.
Yeah.
Where Democratic voters can show up and decide who's going to represent them. If you go to war with Abdullah Syed in Michigan, you're going to war with half of the Democratic Party in Michigan.
Yeah.
And you can't do that
and still expect to win it, especially you can't expect to win.
And that's also why, if you're a DSA, you're a progressive, and you're backing Abdullah Syed, you can't go to war with Haley Stevens, because that's going to war with half of the Democratic Party, and you can't win if you do that.
I think the easiest way to put it is grow the fuck up.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's the tagline for the show. Yeah,
we'll see if that flies and works. Let's end it with some good news. And this good news comes to you by way of the sun, because for I don't know how often I get to see this, but there will be next week. We're recording this on the 7th of August. On the 12th of August, 2026, in Europe, you will be able to see a solar eclipse.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just hearing about this now. This is great. Seriously?
Yeah.
I'm going to look directly into the sun. It's going to be awesome.
Don't do that, kids. We're not those kind of doctors or even those kind of doctors, but we can tell you, don't look right into the sun. But on the 12th of August, 2026, sometime between 6 and 8 p.m., the sky will darken, but not because it's night, but because the moon is passing in front of the sun, in between the Earth and the sun, and there will be a solar eclipse. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be very cool. And I will try not to look directly at it.
Yep.
And I think you can make like sunglasses or some kind of thing.
Like a cardboard box where you see you can see the shadow of like the moon.
Yeah, and you can see the crescent and stuff. Also proving that the Earth is obviously fucking round for the idiots who think that it's not. And it's always fun to prove things that we've known for thousands of years.
Yeah,
probably a good idea that day to go out and get a beer outside, maybe watch it on the heath or in a park or anywhere where you can sit outside and get out your sunglasses and then your special sunglasses and don't pull Donald Trump and look straight into the sun.
Exactly.
But it'll make for a very interesting sunset, I believe.
Yeah.
So, if you happen to be living in the UK or somewhere in the area, globally, be on the lookout.
If you live on planet Earth.
Part of planet Earth, not all of planet Earth. That's why it's good news. It's good news because normally this stuff happens not on my part of planet Earth, and you don't get to see it. I think there was one earlier this year, and it kind of went across America, and I'm just like,
well, no one cares then. So America's got enough to worry about without solar eclipses.
Yeah, so. Well, we all need something a little celestial to remind ourselves of the very small nature of our existence, and we need to both take care of ourselves, but also understand, wow, there's a lot out there. So. Yeah. That's the good news. That's this episode of Doctors Not Doctors. Thank you for listening. And as always, I'm Dr. Silverstein.
I'm Dr. Armshaw.
And we are doctors.
Not doctors.
Good night.